South Africa, 60%, 30%, and they've got some bad things going on in South Africa. You know, we're paying them billions of dollars, and we cut the funding because a lot of bad things are happening in South Africa. The fake news ought to be looking at it. They don't want to report it.
The relationship between South Africa and the United States is facing renewed scrutiny following reports that South Africa is open to Russia and China bringing warships, including nuclear-capable vessels, into its surrounding waters. South Africa, already experiencing diplomatic strain with the Trump administration, is attracting further attention from Washington this week after confirming that Iranian, Russian, and Chinese naval vessels will be welcomed into its waters. At the center of the issue is a broader question of alignment in an increasingly polarized global environment. South Africa has consistently described its foreign policy as non-aligned, emphasizing sovereignty, multilateral cooperation, and strategic independence. From Pretoria's perspective, hosting naval exercises or allowing port access to multiple global powers is consistent with that long-standing position. However, for the United States and its allies, such actions are rarely viewed in isolation. Naval deployments are not purely symbolic. Warships represent strategic capability, intelligence presence, and political messaging. When vessels belonging to Russia and China operate in foreign waters, particularly during periods of heightened global tension, their presence is closely monitored by Western defense and diplomatic institutions. This is especially relevant given the current international context. Russia remains engaged in the war in Ukraine, China continues to expand its global military footprint, and relations between Washington and several BRICS nations have grown more complex. Against this backdrop, South Africa's openness to hosting these navies has raised questions about the direction of its foreign policy. U.S. officials have previously expressed concern about South Africa's military engagements with Russia, including joint naval exercises, as well as its reluctance to take explicit positions on conflicts involving major powers. While South Africa maintains that neutrality does not equate to endorsement, perceptions in international diplomacy often carry significant weight. Economically, the stakes are high. The United States remains a key trade partner for South Africa, particularly through mechanisms such as the African Growth and Opportunity Act, which provides preferential access to U.S. markets. Any deterioration in relations could have tangible economic consequences, affecting exports, investment confidence, and employment. At the same time, South Africa's engagement with China and Russia reflects broader shifts in global power dynamics. China is one of South Africa's largest trading partners, and Russia maintains historical political ties dating back to the anti-apartheid era. Participation in BRICS further reinforces South Africa's interest in a multipolar international system. From this perspective, Pretoria views its diplomatic strategy as diversification rather than defiance. Domestically, reactions have been mixed. Some analysts argue that the government is exercising its sovereign right to pursue balanced international relations. Others warn that the optics of military cooperation with nuclear-armed states could undermine South Africa's credibility as a neutral actor and complicate its relationships with Western partners. Critics also question whether foreign policy decisions of this magnitude align with South Africa's domestic priorities, including energy security, economic recovery, and social stability. International observers are now watching closely to see how Washington responds. Rather than immediate punitive measures, the response is likely to involve diplomatic engagement, increased scrutiny, and potential reassessments of strategic cooperation. Historically, the United States has favored pressure through policy review rather than abrupt escalation when dealing with partners it still views as strategically important. For South Africa, the challenge lies in navigating a global environment where neutrality is increasingly difficult to maintain. As major powers compete for influence, middle power states are often forced to balance economic interests, historical relationships, and geopolitical realities. Whether South Africa can continue to walk this line without long-term consequences remains uncertain. What is clear is that decisions around military cooperation are no longer viewed as routine administrative matters. They are interpreted as indicators of future alignment, regardless of official explanations. As this situation develops, it may serve as a case study in how emerging powers manage diplomacy in an era of renewed global rivalry. For continued coverage and in-depth analysis of international affairs, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for updates as this story evolves.